Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Goodbyes are tricky. Most people think goodbye is just a moment, a handshake, a hug, maybe a wave. But I'm here to tell you, it's not just about leaving, it's about leaving a mark. See, when you do it right, you don't just walk away, you plant yourself in their memory. And once you're there, they're never forgetting you. You know, there's a moment right before you say goodbye to somebody that carries a kind of magic in it. It's like the air shifts. Time slows down just a little. And whether you realize it or not, that's the moment that will stick with them. Most people don't even think about it. They rush it. They make it casual. They turn it into something quick because maybe they don't want to deal with the emotions that come with it. But let me tell you something. If you want to be remembered, if you want him to think about you long after you're gone, you got to learn how to use that moment. The power is in the way you look at him, in the way your eyes lock and stay there for a second longer than usual. See, most people glance and turn away, but if you want to leave a mark, you got to be deliberate. That's not just looking, it's connecting. That's saying without words, I see you, I appreciate you, and I won't forget you. When you hold someone's gaze in that moment, something happens that words can't do. Eyes have a way of bypassing the surface and going straight to the heart. It's a silent language that speaks louder than anything you can say. That extra second of eye contact, it's like a photograph you take with your soul. And once it's there, it can't be deleted. He might not remember every single conversation you had, but he'll remember that last look. He'll remember how they felt. And that's what stays with a person. Now, here's the thing. When you do this, it's not about faking anything. You can't pretend and expect it to work. This isn't about acting deep. It's about actually being present in that moment. That means shutting out distractions. Don't be glancing at your phone. Don't be looking over his shoulder. Don't let your mind drift to what you're doing next. Be all in right there, because that's how you make that moment powerful. If you're distracted, he'll feel it. But if you're locked in, he'll feel that too. And believe me, that's what you want. I've seen people say goodbye like it's just another thing on their to-do list. They give a quick see you later and walk off. And then they wonder why no one remembers them. But when you look at someone with full intention, when you make it clear you're not just seeing their face, but you're acknowledging their value, it changes how they think about you. That one moment becomes a memory. And that memory turns into a feeling, and feelings are what people carry. Think about it like this. Life is full of noise. People come and go all the time. Faces blur, words fade, but emotions, they stick. That's why you have to anchor your goodbye in emotion. And that eye contact, that's the anchor. That's you saying, I'm leaving now, but a part of me is staying with you. It's intimate, but it doesn't have to be romantic. It's about respect, connection, and leaving a part of yourself behind. When you do it right, you don't even have to say much. Sometimes the less you say, the more it means. You can smile, you can nod, you can let the silence do the talking, because that silence filled with presence is louder than any goodbye you could ever speak. And here's the secret. It works because most people don't do it. In a world full of rushed goodbyes, when you slow it down and make it count, you stand out. You become that rare person who actually made them feel something real, and that's unforgettable. So the next time you're about to say goodbye, remember this. Don't waste that moment. Don't treat it like nothing. Use it like it's the last photograph they'll ever have of you in their mind, because when you do, you don't just walk away. You walk into their memory, and that's where you stay. People forget words, but they never forget how you made them feel. That's just the truth. You can tell somebody 100 things, you can give them all the advice in the world, but at the end of the day, the thing they'll remember most is the way you made them feel when they were around you. So before you say goodbye, you need to make it personal. Don't let that last moment be some generic, overused, empty phrase like take care or see you later. Anybody can say that, and because anybody can say that, it won't mean anything to him once you're gone. You got to give him something that comes from you and only you, something that's tied to your connection with him. Think about the things you truly appreciate about this person. What has he done for you? What's he said to you? What little quirks about him have made an impact on your life? Maybe it's the way he always found a way to make you laugh even when you were mad. Maybe it's how he believed in you when nobody else would. Maybe it's how he supported your crazy ideas without making you feel crazy. Whatever it is, that's what you say before you walk away. Look him in the eye and tell him, you know what I'm going to miss? The way you, and fill in that blank with something real. That's how you make it stick. When you give someone a specific compliment, it tells them you were paying attention. And when people feel seen, they feel valued. It's not the big grand gestures that stay with people. It's the small, deeply personal acknowledgments that hit the heart. If you tell him something that's true, something you genuinely felt about him, that moment will replay in his mind over and over again. He's not just going to remember your face. He's going to remember the way his chest warmed up because you made him feel special. But you got to mean it. This is where a lot of people mess up. They think they can fake sincerity. You can't. People know when you just saying something to fill the silence. They know when you pulling out some cliche because you couldn't think of anything else. That's why you take a second before you speak. Don't rush to say the first thing that comes to mind. Take a breath. Think about the truth of your relationship with this person, and then let the words come from there. If you real with it, he's going to feel it. And here's the beauty of making it personal. It doesn't have to be deep or heavy to be powerful. Sometimes the thing you say can be lighthearted but still meaningful. You could say, you're the only person who could ever convince me to try that weird food, and I'm glad you did. Or you have no idea how much your random check-in texts have meant to me. It's about the personal connection, not the size of the statement. You're giving him something that's his alone, something that no one else will be able to claim. That's what makes it unforgettable. It's like you're handing him a little piece of memory that he can keep in his pocket. He'll pull it out when he's thinking about you, when he's missing you, or even when he's having a rough day. Those words will come back to him and remind him of the way you saw him, the way you appreciated him, and the way you left him feeling. So many people leave without ever telling the person what they truly meant to them, and then they wonder why they fade from memory. But when you take that extra moment to speak something genuine, something unique, you carve your name into their story. It's not just about goodbye. It's about making sure that goodbye has a heartbeat. And trust me, when you give someone that, you're not just walking out of their life. You're staying in their mind. And more importantly, you staying in their heart. There's a different kind of power in leaving something behind. I'm not talking about some expensive gift or some big grand gesture. I'm talking about something that carries a piece of you in it. Something that will make him feel like you're still there even when you're not. You see, people can forget faces, they can forget conversations, but when they've got something tangible to hold on to, it pulls you back into their memory over and over again. And this doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to mean something. Could be a handwritten note. And I mean really handwritten, not typed out, not sent through text. Something you took the time to write. Something that has your handwriting, your little mistakes, your way of putting words together. You might think that's old-fashioned, but let me tell you something. Old-fashioned still works. Because when he's holding that piece of paper, he's holding something you actually touched, something you put energy into. That note becomes more than words. It becomes a little piece of your presence. Or maybe it's a photo, not just any photo, but one that captures a real moment between you two. Something unposed, something where you're both just being yourselves. That picture becomes a time machine. Every time he sees it, he's not just looking at an image. He's stepping back into that moment, hearing the laughter, feeling the mood, remembering the connection. Sometimes it can be something even small, a keychain, a book you love that you want him to read, a playlist of songs that means something to you both. The size doesn't matter. What matters is that it's connected to you in a way that no one else could copy. You're not just giving him an object, you're giving him a trigger for a memory. Every time he comes across it, you'll flash into his mind without him even trying. See, this is how people become unforgettable. It's not just about the big things, it's about the little things that get under the skin and stay there. And when you choose the right thing to leave behind, it works because it's a surprise. He's not expecting you to do it. Maybe you slipped a note into his bag without saying anything. Maybe you leave the gift on the table where he'll find it later. That unexpected discovery will hit harder than if you made a big production out of giving it. But here's the key. You have to choose something authentic. Don't just grab anything because you feel like you have to. If it doesn't mean something to you, it's not going to mean something to him. If it's a note, make sure it's words you actually feel. If it's a song playlist, make sure it's songs you actually connect to. People can sense when something's genuine, and they can also sense when it's forced. The whole point is for this to be a reflection of you, a little piece of your spirit that he can keep. And I'll tell you what happens when you do this right. That thing you left behind becomes a lifeline between the two of you. He might be having a regular day, not even thinking about you. And then, boom, he comes across it. Suddenly, you're there again in his mind, in his emotions. That's the kind of reminder that doesn't fade because it's tied to something real, something physical. And no matter how much time passes, he'll always know where that came from and who it came from. We live in a world where everything feels temporary, where people can vanish from our lives in an instant. But when you leave something behind, you're saying a part of me is still here. You're giving him something to reach for when he misses you, something to hold when words aren't enough. And that's how you make sure your goodbye isn't the end. It's just a new way for you to stay in his life even when you're miles away. If you really want to make sure someone never forgets you, you can't let the last thing they remember be the moment you walked away. The trick is to give them one more memory, something that's so alive, so real, that when they think of you, they don't just think of the goodbye, they think of that moment. I'm talking about creating one last shared experience before you part ways. It could be big, it could be small, but it's got to be something that makes them feel something. Maybe it's laughter. Nothing cements a memory like the sound of someone laughing with you, not at you, but with you. If you can get them to laugh one last time before you go, that laughter will echo in their mind long after you're gone. It's the kind of thing they'll remember out of nowhere, maybe while they're driving or cooking, and it'll make them smile without even realizing it. That's how you stay with somebody. Or maybe it's a moment of honesty. You know, the kind of conversation you've been meaning to have but never really did. Before you say goodbye, you open up in a way that's raw and real. It doesn't have to be heavy, it just has to be honest. When you're real with somebody, that moment cuts through all the noise of life and lands right in their heart. Sometimes it's about creating a quiet moment together. You don't even have to talk. Maybe you just sit somewhere side by side, watching the sun go down, sipping coffee or listening to music. It's in those moments of calm where the connection feels the strongest. No pressure, no performance, just presence. That's the stuff people replay in their heads over and over, wishing they could go back to it. The beauty of a last shared moment is that it turns your goodbye into something bigger than just the end of a conversation or a relationship. It's like giving them a bookmark in the story of you. They'll always know where to flip back to when they think of you, and it won't be a page about loss. It'll be a page about connection. Here's the thing, most people don't think to do this. They just let the end be the end. They pack up, they leave, and the last moment is awkward, rushed, or flat. But if you make the effort to give them a memory that's worth holding on to, you put yourself in a different category in their mind. You become that person they talk about later, the one they can't compare anyone else to because no one else cared enough to make the ending beautiful. It doesn't matter what the moment is, as long as it's genuine and it fits who you both are. If you're playful, maybe it's a silly inside joke that you share right before you part ways. If you're sentimental, maybe it's a hug that lasts a little longer than usual, a kind of unspoken promise that you'll remember each other. Whatever it is, it has to feel real to both of you because fake moments don't last. When you give someone one last shared experience before you go, you're giving them something to revisit, something that keeps you alive in their world, even when you're not physically there. And that's the magic. It's not about making them sad to see you go. It's about making them grateful they got to have that time with you at all. Because gratitude sticks, and when someone is grateful for a moment with you, they're never really letting you go in their heart. Touch is one of the most powerful ways to communicate without saying a single word. Before you say goodbye, the way you touch someone can speak louder than any sentence you could put together. People underestimate it, but touch leaves the imprint, not just in the mind, but in the body. Long after you've walked away, that person can still feel the echo of it. That's why if you want to make sure you're unforgettable, you can't overlook this part. Think about the last hug you got that really meant something. Not one of those quick, polite 2-second hugs with a tap on the back. I'm talking about a hug that made you feel like the other person was holding a piece of your soul in their arms. That's the kind of goodbye hug that lingers. When you hold someone just a little longer than expected, it changes the meaning. It says, I'm going to miss you without your lips ever moving. That's something they're going to feel in their chest every time they think about you. It doesn't always have to be a hug. It could be the way you squeeze their hand firm and warm, like you passing some invisible energy into them. That hand squeeze can be a promise, a comfort, a reassurance all at once. It's simple, but it's powerful because it's real.